Let's achieve today to excel tomorrow. Our achievement today is going to be on proportions. Let's first define what a proportion is. Proportions are two ratios that are equivalent. So remember we talked recently about ratios, how that compares two things. So it's two ratios that are equivalent. So let's look at how to solve some proportions. There's a couple of ways to do this. We have the proportion 5/6 equals x over 30. So we know that 5/6 is here, and something over 30 is going to be proportional to 5/6. Okay? One way we can solve this is by saying make equivalent fractions. What times 6 is 30? 5. So we can multiply the top number, 5 times 5, and get 25. Therefore, we know x is 25. If we put it in our original problem, 5/6 equals 25/30ths, we could say 6 times 25 is 150, 30 times 5 is 150, 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 5 is 30. These are two ratios that are equivalent. They're equal, so they are a proportion. One way we could solve our proportion. Another way to solve proportions, let's take this one. 15 over 3 equals x over 2. Because now we can't say what times 2 equals 3. It would be a decimal or a fraction. So we can use what's called cross products. We can look at cross multiplying. We can say 15 times 2 and then divide by the number that's left. So we're going to cross multiply. 15 times 2 is 30 and divide by the remaining number. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Therefore, we found out the answer is 10. 15 over 3 is the same as 10 over 2. It would be hard to say 15 divided by 10 or 15 divided by 1 1/2. No. Let's cross multiply to check it. 15 times 2 is 30. 3 times 10 is 30. This is an equivalent proportion. They are equal. So we know that they are proportional. Okay? 35 over 10 equals x over 2. We can also reduce first. Instead of saying 2 times 35 divided by 10, we can say 35 over 10 is the same as 7 over 2. We divide 35 by 5 and 10 by 5, 7 over 2. Makes our numbers smaller to work with. So now 7 times 2 is 14, divided by 2 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14, divided by 2 is 7. 7 over 2 is equal to 7 over 2, of course. It's a proportion. It's equal. Okay, the last thing I want to look at is something that you'll use a lot next year in 8th grade, and that's how we would solve it algebraically. If we have it set up 15/3 equals x over 2, one of our original problems, then we're saying that 15 times 2 is equal to 3 times x. This is our cross product. 15 times 2 is equal to 3 times x. Well, we know 15 times 2 is 30. That's equal to 3 times x, 3x. 30 is equal to 3x. Let's isolate the variable. Let's isolate x. So we're going to divide both sides by 3 and find out that 10 is equal to x. If we put 10 up here, 10 times 3 is 30. 15 times 2 is 30. It's a proportion. So we need to remember there's several different ways to work proportions. Generally, the best way is we try to cross multiply and divide by the number that's left. But there are several different ways to work proportions. And we'll remember that proportions are two ratios that are equal. They must be equal. So let's achieve today to excel tomorrow.